Hey everybody, Chris the Up North AirGunner. So today we are doing a custom build based on the FX Impact M3, and we're going to be using the brand new Airmarksman Loki Rail. And this thing is pretty awesome. We're going to go through all the features today. But first off, why am I building this build out? What are the different features and goals that I was trying to accomplish in this build? And what this is going to be is my ultimate nighttime coyote hunting rig. So as part of this project, I reached out to Keith Gibson at 68 Whiskey, who gave me a lot of tips and pointers about the use of thermals for coyote hunting. So all the hunting footage that you see in this video is from Keith's channel. So definitely go check that out because there's a lot that I was learning from his hunting experience that he was doing with his 6.5 Grendel and applying that to the tactics that we're going to need to use for air guns. Woo! Wow. Awesome. So definitely go check that out. But let's check out the build with the FX Impact M3 with this new Loki Rail. So what we have here is Utah Airguns sent me the 800mm barrel kit. So by going up that additional, 3 or 4 inches on barrel, it's going to give you a roughly 10 feet per second for every inch of barrel that you add. So that's kind of like free power just by getting that longer barrel system. We also have the tungsten hammer in this, so I can crank this up in that 170 bar range. So this is going to be pushing some slugs pretty darn quick. So here we got some slug selection that I'm going to be trying out in that kind of like 40 grain and higher range. So we've got the javelins and then we've got the Zans here. Getting rid of those coyotes is going to be able to increase your turkey population. It's going to protect the fawn population in the spring when the does are dropping the fawns. So getting out right now between, February, March, April. So it's really important to keep that coyote population in check. We want more turkeys, we want more baby deer, and we really want to put some of those coyotes down. And so that's the reason why I'm building this out. So this Loki Rail, let's talk a little bit about this thing. So one of the things that as a hunter, I really wish the airgun industry would start kind of looking into a little bit more, because I think it's a bit of an afterthought. And that's the ability to run a sling, okay? I know it sounds silly, and I know it sounds like it's not a really big deal, but I tell you what, guys, when I'm walking out in the field, whether I'm deer hunting or small game hunting or predator hunting, whatever, just carrying my gun and trying to sling it over my shoulder while I've got other gear like shooting sticks and stuff like that, having a sling, it's super critical. So I'm really glad that Airmarksman designed this little quick detach, little sling stud thing here. So that's pretty awesome. So another thing real quick is if you have gotten the FX Impact M3 and you've added some other custom rails to the bottom, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The very first time you took your regular fill whip and you went to put air into it and you basically kind of got it stuck inside because there was really very hard to detach that thing. So there's been quite a few times I've done that where I've had to take a screwdriver to get it out. So if you have been into the FX Impact M3, getting those elongated fill quick detaches, it's super critical, right? If you're going to be an FX Impact owner, that's kind of a must-have. So Utah Airguns has actually come out with a step up from that. So it's got that elongated quick detach Foster fill port, but it's got a 90-degree offset on the side. And the reason why I like that a lot is even though I can get a ton of shots with this thing, especially with the Airmarksman 700cc 300 bar bottle. This gives me a ton of shots on board. But there are times I go out to the range and I'm burning through hundreds of shots in a day, and I love being able to shoot tethered. What that means is I'm just permanently connected to my external fill source. So being able to have that 90-degree offset fill Foster on there, that's pretty awesome. I'll probably end up using that on a lot of other guns because having that fill whip coming off at a 90-degree instead of coming up through the bottom, so it's kinking the hose. It's just going to be a great new feature. So the other thing is I've completely switched over to Arca Swiss Rail. And so the reason being, a lot of it has to do with running on tripods. And so a lot of times I'm running on a bipod. And so, we've got the Accutac bipod here. So you can get that in a Arca attachment. So with your bipod system, it's really great to be able to slide this back and forth to, get that proper position with your bipod. But more importantly, with tripods, being able to position your rifle on that tripod so it's not too front heavy or too back heavy. So that way, if you want to go hands free for a second, your gun's not just going to tip forward back. You can actually get it perfectly balanced. And what they've done here is they've taken this Arca rail system and they've really moved it as far back possible underneath the trigger guard So you can find that perfect balance point, that fulcrum point on the tripod. So right now I've got a lot of kind of forward heavy stuff here. We got a longer barrel. We've got the Yokozuna. So, you know, if you're running a more compact rig, you may want to move that back and forth, but finding that perfect balance point, it's going to make it a lot easier, make your shots a lot more stable. You can go hands-free. You don't have to lock the tripod down every single time. So that's a pretty awesome feature on this. We've got M-LOK slots here if you want to run other M-LOK attachments, flashlights, you know, IR flashlights, whatever you want here. What's really cool about this, so you can actually swap out this front section here. So if you want to convert your impact down to a Shorty, so you're going to put like another, like a 300cc bottle on here or something like that. They also sell a Loki that's in a compact version. So you don't have to completely take apart everything here. You can just swap that front rail part out, throw on the Shorty, and now you can convert it back and forth. And I do that a lot with my impacts. This impact has probably been in 3 or 4 different configurations already. So really love this thing. I've got the top rail here from Airmarksman, the backbone, super solid. So the reason why I'm running this top rail right here has a lot to do with the fact that I like running a clip-on thermal. And what this does is this actually just attaches onto this front rail system. I need to actually get a different base here because it's a little too high. So ultimately what you want to do is get your line of sight, the center of your scope, lined up with the center of that thermal. And so when you get that all lined up, it's absolutely perfect. I've actually had this TC35 for quite some time now. I've used it with a lot of different scope combinations, kind of trying to find that perfect pairing. The thing about whenever you're using a clip-on, you are just using the glass and the reticle from your scope, and you are then just kind of looking into that little computer screen. And if you think about it, if you're using a high magnification optic, it's not going to work. It's going to blow that picture up really wide, and now you got just a big face full of really big pixels at that point. So having a low magnification optic is really critical. So in the last year, Element Optics has come out with the Helix HD line. They have the HD and the HDLR. I absolutely love this. This right here is one of my now 3 top hunting scopes here in the Midwest specifically, where we don't really need a lot of high magnification use. I mean, really, if I'm doing, you know, big game hunting or even medium game hunting, my shots are often like within 100 yards. So, you know, with a Coyote rig like this, getting them within 100 yards is going to be super critical, because you really want to make sure, if you can, take a headshot, because these air guns, though powerful, I've seen Coyotes take, like with Keith's video, 6.5 Grendel broadside, perfect shot placement, and they still run hundreds of yards. I mean, those things are just built to survive. So getting a precision headshot on a predator is the preferable shot placement with these things. With deer hunting and things like that, I typically always go for the heart-lung shot. I'm not a big head hunter with deer, but having the Helix HD is a great platform. So it's a great scope to use because it goes all the way down to just 2x magnification. So it's a 2:16. So if I'm running it with the clip-on, I just crank it all the way down to 2. So the HDLR does have a mill-based scope reticle, and this one has more of a kind of a bullet drop compensation reticle. So I've got the HD on this, and with this 2x magnification, it's going to be absolutely perfect with this clip-on. So that right there is my go-to optic if you're running clip-on thermals. All right, so let's talk about some other things that we've got going on here. If I'm doing nighttime hunting, I'm actually going to be hunting in some places that are close to some residential areas. So one of the places that I do a lot of deer hunting, you've seen this on my channel, I'm out there kind of in that radio tower field. So there's a neighborhood about 250, 300 yards to the rear, and you really just want to kind of keep that sound suppression down. And so I really don't need the neighbors get worried that, you know, hey, they hear gunshots at night. So running the suppressor is going to be great for both my hearing, but also just kind of keeping things quiet. So I've got the Yokozuna on here, and this thing really works well. I've actually tested this on the 35 cal. It brings those decibels way down. So also we've got some other thermal options here. When you're hunting with thermals, obviously you can see through your scope, and with the clip-on, I can get my thermal image there through my scope. But scanning, you don't want to sit there and be scanning back and forth with your rifle. It's just going to be a lot of eye strain. You don't want to be on the gun all night long. So being able to scan with a second thermal, a handheld thermal, is super critical. So Pulsar, these Axions are really great. Utah Airguns carries the Pulsar line. So absolutely love these things. The other thing too is I really want to be able to record this stuff so I can show you guys later on. So both the AGM and the Pulsar has onboard recording, so I can record my adventures, share them with you all. So super excited about running those thermals. So there it is. That's a first look at the Ultimate FX Impact M3 Coyote rig. Definitely check out the Loki. Love this thing so far. Hopefully I get out in the woods here pretty soon, get out in those fields. We got some warm temperatures actually, which is great. So hopefully get out and do some coyote hunting without freezing my butt off at night. So there it is, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Take care.
Oh, they broke it! He broke it! Oh, we gotta go look at that. We gotta go.